In the winter of 1972, a chartered plane carrying a rugby team disappeared into the Andes. For 72 days, 16 people lived among the wreckage of the fuselage, waiting for a rescue that never came. While often called a miracle, their survival was actually the result of a brutal, calculated application of logic to every resource at their disposal. The disaster was triggered by a navigational error. The pilots were flying a Fairchild Tu-20, a plane with engines too weak to safely clear these peaks in bad weather. They began a premature descent through the clouds and smashed into a high mountain ridge. The impact left the survivors stranded at an elevation of 3,570 meters. They faced -30-degree temperatures and gale-force winds while wearing only thin street clothes and rugby jerseys. By day 11, the group managed to repair a small transistor radio. They listened as the broadcast confirmed that the search for their plane had been officially canceled. Isolated in a total vacuum of civilization, they realized that they would have to engineer their own escape. The survivors had lighters, paper books, and over $7,000 in cash, yet they rarely kept a fire burning. At 3,500 meters, the air is so thin that fires struggle to find enough oxygen to ignite. Building a large fire also posed a physical threat. Highly flammable aviation fuel had spilled across the snow, turning the crash site into a blast zone. There was also a physiological trap, the brief heat from a small fire making the return to sub-zero air feel more punishing, causing a dangerous drop in core temperature. They eventually concluded that burning their limited supply of clothing and luggage was too costly. Preserving these items as physical insulation was more reliable than the heat of a fire they couldn't maintain. To avoid starvation, the group eventually made the decision to consume the bodies of those who had died. This was not an act of madness, but a survival conclusion reached after days of agonizing debate. Once the decision was made, they faced another choice, whether to cook the meat or eat it raw. This diagram illustrates the mathematical disadvantage of cooking. Exposure to heat causes the meat to shrink, reducing the volume of their meager rations. The cooking process also destroys vital nutrients. Their atrophied bodies needed every possible calorie to function at high altitude. To live, they had to suppress the primal human instinct of disgust in favor of pure nutritional efficiency. After an avalanche buried the fuselage and killed 8 more people, the survivors realized the wreckage had become a tomb. Nando Parado and Roberto Canessa prepared to walk out. They fashioned makeshift snowshoes from aircraft seat cushions and sewed a sleeping bag out of the plane's thermal insulation. To escape, they had to scale Mount Seller, a severe PD+ grade alpine climb. This required navigating 60-degree slopes of ice and snow without ropes or ice axes, all while their muscles were in a state of advanced wasting. Their progress was no longer a matter of physical strength. They continued upward because they had already accepted they were going to die, a psychological shift replacing fear with a mechanical, relentless drive. When Parado reached the 4,667-meter summit, he saw that the pilot had been wrong. They were not near the edge of the mountains. They were surrounded by hundreds of miles of white peaks in every direction. Instead of retreating, Parado named the peak after his father, left a lipstick-marked bag at the summit, and began a 10-day, 37-mile trek deeper into the wilderness. That trek eventually led them to a Chilean shepherd and the rescue helicopters. As seen in these photographs, the survivors were pulled from the mountain in a state of physical exhaustion, reaching the absolute limit of human endurance. Mount Seller remains incredibly isolated today. Because of its brutal terrain and difficult approach, the peak has seen almost no modern ascents since 1972. The survival of Flight 571 suggests that enduring the impossible is less about maintaining a sense of hope and more about the grim daily work of accepting your fate and solving the specific problems right in front of you.